Hello, and welcome to Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses, the podcast where you will discover all the latest and greatest digital marketing tools, tips, and strategies you will need to implement in order to stay ahead of your competition. If you are not getting the results you are looking for from your digital marketing efforts, this is the podcast for you. And now, here's the host of our show, the local business guy himself, Frank Deming.
Hello, everyone. This is Frank Deming, the local business guy, with another episode of Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday. Hope you guys got a lot of things planned for this weekend. This is an important weekend where we're supposed to be lightening up a little bit. So, let's see what happens here. We're still in, I'm calling it Pandemic 2020. So let's see what happens. But this episode, I want to talk about because I remember, first of all, a couple of emails came through, a couple of messages from LinkedIn as well. And also, it was a topic that I should have done maybe months ago because prior to all of this lockdown stuff, people used to always ask me about copywriting and about, just getting people to engage in general when it comes to, writing copy, when it comes to writing blog posts, when it comes to writing emails, et cetera, et cetera. And, the secret to the sauce, which is what we're going to talk about in this episode. The secret to the sauce when it comes to copywriting is basically the headline. Without a compelling headline, folks, you've got nothing. So that's why I am going to give you 7 tips for writing compelling headlines that your audience cannot resist. And that's the title of this episode. But before we get to that, I want you guys to remember my email address. If you want to get a hold of me, if you want to ask me about any topics, feel free to email me at info@lbmsllc.com. Or you can simply give us a call at 888-416-7752. And just ask to leave us a message, and then we'll definitely contact that. And as well, if you want to be a guest on our show, I'll be getting a lot of feedback on our guests. Seems like a lot of people are listening to the episodes when I do have guests. If you want to be a guest, that's the way to get a hold of us as well, either via email, like I just mentioned, or giving us a call directly, 888-416-7752. Okay, so let's talk about copywriting. Copywriting is a skill set that you really have to start getting to know. I mean, especially if we're using the internet to attract and engage your audience to you. And because if no one is opening your emails, if no one is finding you if someone's finding you on a blog, but when they see the blog post, they see it's kind of boring, then everything is going for naught. So this is what I'm hoping that this podcast does, is that it informs you some really cool, compelling things that you can use. Okay, so like I said, there's 7 tips, and this is not going to be a very long episode, but I do want you to take notes. Maybe you should download this, save this onto your device, listen to it over and over again, and start practicing it. And again, if you need any help with any of with this topic or any topic that we ever go for, you guys know how to reach us. We'll do an analysis of your marketing pieces and help you out as best as we can. Okay, so here we go. 7 tips to writing compelling headlines. Here we go. Tip number one is you want to focus on benefits. That sounds like a very broad statement. But the bottom line is that copywriters know that it's not features that sell your services. It's benefits. So in other words, don't tell people what you're going to share with them. Tell them how it will make their lives better or even solve a problem. This is a very detailed, very, 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 very detailed topic. It's number one, but it's the most important thing. And I can't get into it because this is a broad, this is going to be a broad episode. And maybe I'll have a more detailed episode on it. But what I'm going to do is in the show notes, I am going to point you to an article that I saw that's pretty helpful, and it comes out pretty decent. I don't know if anyone on this call is familiar with a blog that's out there on the internet called Copyblogger, which is a pretty very good resource if you're looking for enhancing some of your blog writing, just writing in general, Copyblogger. But they have an article on that blog that I'm going to point you guys to, so that way you could take a look at it, read it, and understand some details. And the name of that blog is 37 Tips to Writing Emails that Get Opened, Read, and Clicked. Now, that blog post obviously is catered to emails, but you can use that strategy across the board when it comes to any copywriting things you do, whether you're writing a blog post, whether you're writing an article or an email. Okay, so I'm just giving you some advice. So that's the key thing. But the thing that you have to remember, number one, because this is key, is you have to remember to focus on benefits and not features. I'll give you an example. A feature, if you're selling a car, if you're going to focus on a feature, you're going to talk about, it's got, leather seats, it's got fog lamps, it's got, it has two cars, it's a four-seater, it's a convertible. Those are features. A benefit is how the experience that you can be, what you're going to feel when you ride the car. If you're a guy, you're going to be able to pick up more women. If you're a woman, you're going to be able to be the talk of the town for all the guys. These are all for the single people, of course. If you're an executive at a firm, you'll be able to prove that you're successful because they see you in this nice vehicle. See, those are all benefits. It has nothing to do with the actual car, but those are the things that you're going to be receiving in return to buying this vehicle. So that's the difference between features and benefits. But that article gives you a lot of cool little tips that you can use. So I'm going to point you to that. So that's number one. Number two is make a promise and then deliver. So this is very important when you're writing a headline, like again, to a blog post or to a email or whatever. You have to make a promise and then deliver. Here's what I mean. So if you want to make an audacious promise, okay, you have to deliver. That's the point of what I'm trying to say. So let's just say an article called How to Make $100,000 in One Day. That's something that you probably cannot deliver, so you don't want to make that promise, But if you write an article that says something to the point of, let's say something, how to grow your business by 20% over the next year. See, that's something that you're making a promise and you can deliver that as long as you have strategies, of course, that's going to help you. See, making a promise in your headline is not delivering. Is not delivering as clickbait. So if you're making a promise in your headline. You're just creating what we call in the online world clickbait. Clickbait is something that it's just fictitious. So we don't want something fictitious. We've all made that mistake. Well, maybe not all of us, but anyone who's been in the copywriting world has made that mistake. Okay. Something that's people say 8 amazing things you never knew about, blah, blah, blah. Say some kind of celebrity, 8 amazing things you never knew about, say Brad Pitt or something, some celebrity. You don't know any. If you don't know them, you can't make that claim. But here's the deal. That's clickbait only because you mentioned the celebrity. Like, for instance, right now, clickbait would be anything that has to do with pandemic or coronavirus or anything like that. So you got to be careful. Because clickbait is considered bait and switch. You know what I'm saying? So, you don't want to do that. You don't want to make promises that you cannot deliver. That's the bottom line. So be very careful. Make sure that whatever promise you make, you can deliver on it. And by using your expertise in the article, that's going to give you, because what happens is if you have a brand, a broad headline, the moment people start reading and they say, this guy has nothing, he's not doing anything, he's not really giving me any answers here, they're going to click off and they're going to be upset. So you don't want to do that. Okay. Number 3, use a curiosity gap. Very important. So basically a curiosity gap is just a fancy term for the space between what people know and what they want to know. Do we all remember overzealous headlines from sites like Upworthy and BuzzFeeds that use to shout out, "You'll never guess what happened next"? That they abused the curiosity gap, but it still can be used in a more suitable way. So, for instance, you could say, let me see, I'm trying to think of something off the top of the head. You'll still be able to clearing about a topic, or, something like, check this out, old Upworthy headline. For example, his first 4 sentences, let's see. His first 4 sentences are interesting. The 5th blew my mind. They made me a little sick, something like that. So that's using a curiosity gap. So let's say you're trying to sell a book, and you say something to the fact of, you write a Facebook headline that says, buy my latest book. On page 37 is a surprise that you would never thought was possible. That is a cool thing, and it brings back sanity to the so-called curiosity gap routine that was so messed up back in the day with the shout out. So, it's pretty cool to do. Okay. It's an ethical way of doing it, as long as page 37 really has something that's going to blow your mind. You just got to make sure that that's the case. Goes back to, making sure that you deliver what you promise. So number 4 is, don't sacrifice clarity for cleverness. My good friend Jennifer Flynn, she has a similar term. I don't want to blow it because it's her term, but she has a very similar term that she uses sometimes about, clarifying, clarity for cleverness. So Here's the deal. Writers love to show people how clever they are. So they use all these fancy schmancy terms. It doesn't work all the time. So good headlines are easy to understand and tell us exactly what's coming next. Okay, so that's the key there. You want to tell them exactly what's coming next. So if you're trying to like shoehorn a pun or clever reference into, like your headline, it may turn into something that the audience is not really happy with. So don't do that. So here's an example. Say shark oil for HIV shot takes cue from Hemingway Old Man. People are like, what? But here's the deal. What they're trying to do here, they're using HIV. So shark oil for HIV shot takes cue from Hemingway Old Man. Makes no sense. It's just they're trying to be real clever with it. They're using something like HIV, which is like, oh, people are still, although it's not as crazy as it was back in the day in the 80s, but still HIV is an important topic. And then you're going to use Hemingway, okay, Hemingway, what's up with him? And so you're just name dropping, and it's just not cool. Okay, so don't do that. It just writes something real clear. It's just write something clear. If it has nothing to do with Hemingway, don't do it. Don't do it just to get someone to do it. Okay, don't do it. I can't repeat that more enough because I see it a lot and it irks me. So number 5, you want to use numbers. Okay, say something to the effect of 5 tips you can use to help blah blah blah. 5 tips to increase widget sales, or 5 to increase your to help you lose weight today without having to exercise. 107 tips for increasing your social media engagement. Whatever that is, use numbers. That usually helps. And also use percentages, which are numbers as well. Okay. Number 6, you want to learn from others. Be a student, guys. I am not talking stealing. Don't plagiarize. Leverage. So if you see something that's cool, 9 times out of 10, other people are going to think it's cool. Try to figure out a way that you can turn that into your own, for your own industry, for your own situation. So, be cool, be clever. Again, don't steal, leverage the idea, turn it into yourself. This way it's not, it's not stealing. So I always like to tell people, create what I call a swipe file. Again, it's not stealing. I'm swiping some stuff, putting it into a Google Drive. I say, hey, I may use that later. Then when I'm writing some ad copy, I'm going to go into my swipe file, look at a few examples of something because if I swiped it and I put it in there, it's because I liked it. And something is going to trigger my mind and say, okay, yeah, that's why I liked it, because it was kind of cool. I want to use that at some point. And then, you start using it, but I always turn everything that I create or anything that I think that's cool into an LBMS thing. Okay. What would Frank say? I use my words, that I use for my business. And so that's what you want to do. Use words that you would use for your business when you think something is cool. Use, magazines, you get ideas from all kinds of things. So anyway, that's number 6, learn from others. Number 7, last but not least, is write a bunch and pick the best. So when you're writing an email, when you're writing a blog post, here's what I like to do. This is a secret that I don't think I've ever publicly said this. This is the first time I've actually revealed this secret. I never write just one headline. Okay? Never. I write a headline that just came to me the first time, right? Then I start writing some content, and then I go, oh, maybe it should be called this. Then I can go finish some more content. Oh, well, maybe it should be called this. Then I finish writing some more content. And then is when, at some point, when I read the whole article as a whole, I look at all of the content or headline ideas that I saw, and I pick the best that matches what I wrote. Sometimes it's a hodgepodge of it. Sometimes I mix and match words from all of them. So that's a strategy that I use very, very, very often. So anyway, I'm going to recap what these 7 are. Okay, so those are the 7 tips for writing compelling headlines. And I want you guys to practice this, okay? Start writing some stuff this weekend. So number 1 is focus on benefits. Again, in the show notes, I am going to have a sample, a copy blogger article that I really like, that really helped me, and I'm hoping it's going to help you. Number 2, make a promise, then deliver. Okay? Don't make some crazy empty promises. Don't do that. That doesn't work. Number 3, use a curiosity gap. Curiosity gaps are good. It got a bad rap, like I said earlier, but they're actually good when they're used ethically. Okay? And I gave you some examples of how to use them ethically. Number 4, do not sacrifice clarity for cleverness. Don't do that. Be very clear. Don't try to be sneaky and clever, and like the Hemingway example I gave you, that was crazy. I mean, why would somebody just, shoehorn in there a clever pun, and try to use something like, I use HIV because I'm trying to stay away from this pandemic stuff. So I just use HIV because that's an old thing, and I use Hemingway because that's another old thing. Everybody's tired of hearing about coronavirus. So I just use that as an example for now. But you know what I'm saying. You don't want to sacrifice clarity for cleverness. Just be clear. What are you trying to say there with that article? What are you trying to say? Be clear. Number 5, you want to use numbers. Very important. 6 things that you want to do today. 8% of people don't know how to copyright. Anyway, you know what? You get the point. Number 6, you want to learn from others. I don't mean steal, folks. Learn, leverage, look at newspapers, check them out, see what calls your attention, develop a swipe file, and then build on that as you build your content marketing empire. Number 7, last but not least, write a bunch and pick the best. Write 20 to 25 headlines when you write every piece. And then just pick the best. Do a hodgepodge, Do a hodgepodge. And then, you will definitely come up with top things. So anyway, there you have it. That pretty much ends this episode of Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses. I really hope that you guys take a look at this, start implementing it, because I know it's going to help you, and it's going to improve your open rates of your email, your open rates of your blog, your stick rate of your blog. It just improves, and helps tremendously. So with that, I am going to, before I end this episode, I just want you to remind you, if you ever want to get a hold of us, if you want us to take a look at any of your ad copy, just feel free to reach out to us. We're at www.lbmsllc.com, and our phone number is 888-416-7752. 416-7752, 888 area code. with that, folks, I will see you guys next week. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful weekend. Take care and bye for now.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses, the podcast where you will discover all the latest and greatest digital marketing tools, tips, and strategies you will need to implement in order to stay ahead of your competition. Don't forget, any links that were mentioned during the broadcast will be available to you in the show notes, so be sure to grab them while you have the chance. Incidentally, if you have any topics that you would like for us to discuss on the show, be sure to send an email to the email provided in the show notes, or click the Contact Us link and let us know what topic you would like us to help you with, and we'll be sure to add it to our schedule. If you would like for Frank and his team to look at your digital marketing presence and give you a free evaluation, simply click the Request a Free Consultation link in the show notes to get a hold of them. That being said, until our next episode, make it a successful digital marketing day. Peace out.